I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon.
Did you have any advice for Mrs. Trump?
You know, I didn't. We talked about the kids, but, you know, my offer to Melania was, you know, you really don't know what you don't know until you're here.
What do a calm, values-driven Michelle Obama and a deflecting, outraged Donald Trump have in common? Absolutely nothing. But when Michelle slammed Trump with facts, even the words convicted felon seemed to hit a nerve. And now Melania's gone. What's the connection? The truth will surprise you. Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. When Michelle Obama decided to step up and speak, she wasn't throwing shade, she was shining a spotlight. Her approach wasn't loud or confrontational, it was quiet, measured, and devastatingly effective. On stage, with her signature poise, she spoke plainly, pulling no punches. Michelle called out Trump's criminal indictments, labeling him a convicted felon with the kind of calm that probably made it sting even more. And then she doubled down, referring to his business history as something straight out of a slumlord's playbook. The thing about Michelle's delivery is that it's never overheated. It's like she knows the facts do the job for her, as if her words could reach directly through the noise and land exactly where they were intended. And boy, did they land. Watching Michelle serve up hard truths is like watching a master at work. But for Trump, it might as well have been a personal attack. Within hours, literally hours, he was already popping off on Truth Social, calling her speech nasty and accusing Michelle of trying to divide the nation. Classic Trump, right? When in doubt, blame someone else for the chaos. But he didn't stop there. Oh no, he had to let everyone know he believed the speech was pre-taped, as if that somehow made it less relevant. You have to wonder if he thought people would suddenly forget those public records she was referencing. They're on file, Donnie. There's something about Michelle that seems to drive Trump up a wall. Maybe it's her composure. A lot of people lose their cool when they're throwing out big accusations. Michelle just lets each word simmer. The real kicker? These weren't just opinions flying off the cuff. Everything from the convicted felon line to the slumlord reference ties directly to court documents, news investigations, and public knowledge. She essentially put her target on the screen, clicked zoom, and said, "Here, look closer." Now, Trump's response might not surprise anyone who's been alive for the past 7 or so years, but it felt extra frantic this time around.
A known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all.
So that's one of the things I said to Melania. When you get to a place when you can digest all this and you have questions, because, you know, you don't have questions.
Did you have any advice for Mrs. Trump?
You know, I didn't. We talked about the kids, but, you know, my offer to Melania was, you know, you really don't know what you don't know until you're here.
Right.
And Laura Bush was nothing but gracious and helpful, and her team was right there for my team all throughout this entire 8-year process.
And your team is doing the same.
We will do whatever they need to help them succeed.
Alongside his rants about Michelle, he threw in some of his greatest hits, calling her a liar, branding her words un-American, and of course complaining about the fake news media giving her a platform in the first place. At one point, he even claimed that Michelle's criticisms were worse than Hillary Clinton's emails. Yes, emails. He really went there, as if dragging up an old scapegoat would somehow make Michelle's words go away. It wasn't just Trump throwing punches into the air though. Right after Michelle's speech, rumors started swirling about Melania. Where was she? Why hadn't she been seen? Suddenly, people weren't just talking about what Michelle said. They were looking at Trump's household. That's what Michelle does. She sets the tone and everyone else catches up with her. It's like a ripple effect of truths that Trump can't contain no matter how fast he tweets. And here's the thing, Trump's ego can handle a lot. He's been called out countless times, and he usually brushes it off or distracts people with the next outrage. But Michelle's calm yet cutting approach seems to be his kryptonite. She doesn't yell, she doesn't name call or exaggerate, she simply states the facts. And something about that has always had the power to unglue him. It's ironic when you think about it. The man who spends hours raging on social media, insulting everyone from political opponents to tech CEOs, can't seem to handle someone saying, "Here are the receipts, deal with it." But if Michelle's words rattled Trump, they also seem to shake things up in his own household.
It was a lovely frame. There's all this protocol. So they tell you that you're gonna do this, they're gonna stand here. Never before do you get this gift. So I'm sort of like, okay.
Rock and I were raised with so many of the same values. Like, you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're gonna do. I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn.
That is a lesson that I continue to pass along to our son. And we need to pass those lessons on to the many generations to follow.
Where is Melania Trump? That's what the internet is asking. And honestly, no one seems to have a clear answer. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Michelle Obama calmly drops a truth bomb on Donald Trump during a speech, rattling his cage in the process. And suddenly, Melania vanishes like a magician's assistant in the middle of an act. Coincidence? Twitter sure doesn't think so. In fact, people are digging up old patterns, looking at how Melania has a knack for disappearing anytime Trump is at the center of a storm, and it's raising some very interesting questions. Here's the thing, this isn't the first time Melania has gone MIA at a moment when all eyes are on Trump. A lot of folks remember past controversies where her public appearances, or lack thereof, seem suspiciously well timed. Whether it's stormy headlines or political backlash, Melania has often kept a low profile when Trump's behavior makes the front page. But this time, the internet is louder about it than ever, turning her latest Houdini act into a meme-worthy event. People are calling it, "Where's Waldo but make it Melania," riffing on her habitual absence like it's part of a quirky routine. Of course, it comes off as funny, but there's a serious thread woven through all the jokes. Why is she nowhere to be found right when Michelle's words are shaking Trump's inner circle? Now imagine being Melania and watching Michelle take the stage again in 2023, not with borrowed words, but with a direct, cutting critique of Trump's character and actions.
I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon. Because a vote for him is a vote against us, against our health, against our worth, dignity and respect, even if you don't know them and even if you don't agree with them.
That you treat people with respect. They thought and showed me values and morals in their daily life.
To know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because
Michelle's calm dissection of Trump's public record, calling him a convicted felon and referencing his years as a slumlord, is the kind of thing that has ripple effects. People notice. Trump himself, of course, noticed. His social media meltdown proves that much. But behind the scenes, you've got to wonder, did Michelle's words ripple far enough to rattle Melania straight out of the picture? Theories are flying. Maybe it's all just bad timing and Melania happens to be out of sight and totally uninvolved in the aftermath of Michelle's speech. Sure, that's possible, but when you look at the bigger picture, her vanishing act feels too familiar. Every time Trump is in hot water, Melania seems to either disappear or look like she'd rather be anywhere else. It's created this ongoing narrative of distance, not just physical but emotional, and her silence has become its own statement. And that's what has people talking. Melania's absence fuels the notion that she isn't just stepping out of the spotlight, she's deliberately sidestepping Trump's chaos. It's like Michelle's words struck a nerve, and while Trump is busy ranting online, Melania might be busy at, well, not being there. Even in silence, she's sparking speculation that the cracks in Trump's inner circle run deeper than anyone thought. Could her disappearance be a quiet protest, or just another odd chapter in their puzzling dynamic? Whatever the case, Melania's silence is louder than ever. It might just be her way of staying clear of Trump's spiraling firestorm, but the timing couldn't be more telling. And if Michelle's words caused this much of a shakeup, what does it say about Trump's household? Well, stay with me, because Michelle's impact didn't just stop with rattling Trump and his mysterious spouse. It forced everyone to take another look at just how far Trump is willing to go to deflect. What do Trump's unhinged social media rants, cringeworthy AI memes, and decade-long fixation with the Obamas have in common. One word: fear. To anyone paying even the slightest attention, it's clear that Donald Trump is obsessed, and not just in the way you might expect. His attacks on Barack and Michelle go beyond politics. They're way too personal, and you don't have to squint to see why. Take it from Don Lemon, who says Trump's behavior isn't about simple disagreement. It's about envy, deep, gnawing envy, and if you trace it back, the roots of his weird vendetta are painfully obvious. Remember 2011? Donald Trump probably does, though he'd love to forget. It was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and Barack Obama did what he does best. He got under Trump's skin with humor. He expertly skewered Trump, who was sitting stiffly in the audience, over his ridiculous birther conspiracy theories.
Please do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us.
My parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life.
Set out to build lives guided by these values and to pass them on to the next generation because we want our children and all children in this nation.
Obama described the decision to release his long-form birth certificate as his most difficult decision ever, saying with mock seriousness, "We can finally put that to rest. I know that he was born in Krypton and sent to Earth to save us." The room roared with laughter, except for one very orange, very humorless man who, according to Lemon, sat frozen and visibly seething. That moment branded itself into Trump's brain like one of his gold-plated logos. What should have been a funny roast became a defining moment of humiliation, a public reminder that he would never measure up to a man who displayed wit, intelligence, and charisma effortlessly. Years later, the embarrassment still lingers for Trump, evident in his every move. Fast forward to today, and Trump seems downright desperate to claw back a sense of superiority. Take his latest hobby, sharing AI-generated memes aimed at Obama. One of the most absurd featured a photoshopped image placing Trump and Obama in the famous O.J. Simpson police chase, an obvious attempt to paint Obama as a fugitive.
What am I supposed to do with this gift? And everyone cleared out, and no one would come and take the box, and I'm thinking, do we take the...
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
That you treat people with...
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
It's such a bizarre attempt at rewriting history that it's almost laughable if it wasn't soaked in bitterness. Lemon sees this as Trump trying to rewrite the narrative because, in his mind, he's constantly running from the shadow of Barack Obama. No meme will shrink that shadow. Now, Michelle Obama's recent speech only rubbed salt in the wound. Her words didn't just call out Trump's legal troubles or his shady business dealings, though they did that beautifully. It was the grace she brought to the moment, effortlessly reflecting the kind of intelligence and moral clarity that Trump can't fake, no matter how many gold letters he slaps on a building. While Trump flounders in outrage, Michelle's strength lies in how unbothered she seems by his chaos. It's no wonder Trump doesn't seem to handle people like the Obamas well. They have what he pretends to have. Lemon has pointed out something even more troubling. Trump's attacks on Barack and Michelle aren't just about envy or insecurity. They're part of what Lemon calls a racial psychodrama, a reflection of Trump's struggle to accept a world where power is no longer exclusive to men like him. Trump's incessant need to tear down Barack and Michelle reeks of a longing for a time when people like him didn't have to compete with people like Obama, as Lemon put it. It's personal, yes, but it's also emblematic of a broader fear, specifically the fear of black excellence. Every attempt Trump makes to erase Obama's legacy, whether it's dismantling policies or sharing low-effort AI memes, exposes more of that fear. The fixation isn't about strength or principle, it's about weakness, a desperate need to feel superior in a world that keeps reminding him he's not. Michelle's speech only amplified that fear. It wasn't just about convicting Trump in the court of public opinion, it was about exposing exactly how much space the Obamas occupy in his head. And that's the part Trump can't deflect from. His fixation doesn't make him look like a powerful figure. It makes him look petty, reactive, and insecure. Michelle's words didn't just highlight his faults. They forced us to see what happens when a man obsessed with tearing others down faces someone determined to build others up. And that's the real power of Michelle's speech. It shows us just how fragile Trump's ego really is. Michelle Obama's words weren't flashy or loud, but they hit harder than any rant Trump could fire off. Her calm, values-driven delivery focused on truth, not theatrics, a style Trump just can't match. He reacts with noise, she responds with clarity. That's grace versus chaos, and Trump's reaction proves he knows it. But what does it say about leadership when a calm statement of facts can unravel someone so completely? If words like hers have this much power, imagine the impact of listening to more voices that choose strength over bluster. Maybe that's the leadership we've been searching for all along.